This is a 90-year-old man. When's the last time you spoke to anybody that was 90 years old?
I don't know if I ever have.
Even close. Like, my grandma's
an old person, yeah.
78 years old, and I spoke to her last weekend. And, like, they don't give a
I should talk to more of them.
Love it. They don't, man. Like, hey everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Customer Engagement Lab. If you are watching this video and if you're listening, you might notice we look better, we sound a hell of a lot better, and that's because
I'm wearing sunglasses inside, and my name is Patrick Downs. Welcome.
Thanks, Patrick. We're going to jump right into it. This week, our first segment is going to be Patrick and I are dreaming up a road trip, and we're calling it the Revenue Team Road Trip. And we're picking the people from the Revenue Team to go on this road trip with us and the value they would bring. So I'm going to start off, Patrick, with bringing on a marketing VP on this road trip. And the marketing VP is basically, they're the person that came up with the idea for a Revenue Team road trip. They felt that it would help improve morale and synergy between teams. And then they would send the idea to a mid-level manager and then never respond to any of your messages about planning the trip. And they're like, we'll just let you plan the road trip, like mid-level marketer. And then they want like a detailed report of how effective the road trip was. But then when you create that report, they'll never look at it.
I'm actually just going to put it directly in the trash can. Could you light it on fire, please, too? And just make sure I never see it again.
And then 3 months later, when they get asked by another executive staff member for how that road trip went, they'll ping you and expect you to have that detailed report.
It's like, hey, I know I incinerated it, but could you put the pieces back together for me somehow with magic if you have it? That would be nice.
The next person I have coming on the revenue road trip with us is the RevOps person who maps out the perfect perfect route. They are also maximizing gas usage combined with planned rest stops, and they book all the most cost-effective hotels, but they're mad awkward in the car, and you feel super dumb every time you talk to them.
Yeah. And you ask them for anything, they're like, sorry, I have 47 other things I have to do first, and then I'll get back to you. Like, let me check my Trello board, and then they just disappear. It's like, wait, where's Brett? Did we leave him at the rest stop? It's like, no, he's too busy planning the next road trip after this one. So we'll pick him up when we're on our way back.
That is so accurate.
He's gone. Yeah. We tried to call him and he just shut his phone off too.
And by the way, we are roasting all these people, but we actually do love them. So just for the record. And then this is the AE, right? So the account executive packs all their belongings into a designer suitcase. They smell so good or so bad. There's no in between. You either smell like straight ass and BO or you're wearing way too much cologne. Jared. They also keep asking when we're getting there. But they also are the person that traps everyone in the car with their farts and then exaggerates the stories of conquesting in their dating life.
Wow.
Would you say that's pretty accurate?
Yeah, they're bragging about the last road trip they were on the whole time.
No, bro, you should have been on the last road trip.
Yeah, and how well they did on it. It's like, I was so good. I was such a good boy. I sat there the whole time and didn't complain once, even though it was a very long drive.
After having dinner with 2 AEs and you last night, that is so accurate. All right, the next person on our trip is going to be the SDR. They travel light. They just pack a backpack, which only has the essentials, and that includes 1 pair of underwear, 2 non-matching socks, and some sort of alcohol, and it's going to be really cheap alcohol.
Okay.
That's the SDR.
What alcohol do you imagine the cheap alcohol
It's
is?
probably going to be like Jim Beam whiskey or like
Goldschlager.
They're going to try to tell
that?
you that Milagros is an expensive tequila. It is, but it's not good. So that's what they'd bring.
Bro, it's just like a still reserve. It's like, it's a high graph beverage. Like, you'll be fine.
Dude, Smirnoff, you can't even taste the difference between like a Smirnoff and a Svedka. Why would I spend $17 extra? It's just upmarket and bullshit.
And you get iced like 4 times during it. Like, every time you open up the glove compartment, there's just a Smirnoff ice. Like, dude, you gotta chug it, bro. It's the rules.
You're like, you're not even of age. How'd you buy this?
Well, I don't know, man. I went to a really progressive high school. My parents said they'd rather I get drunk with them than do it somewhere else.
And that's the revenue road trip. Was there anybody I missed, Patrick?
Yeah, you did. I think you missed the account manager. Like, they would be the one to come in at the last second and be like, "Hey, did you know that I actually planned this road trip?" Even though they did nothing the whole time.
I wonder how all of your account management friends here at Pananock will feel about
I'm
that.
totally kidding.
And that's the revenue road trip. If that doesn't get any of this podcast shut down or any of us fired, then nothing will, I think, at this point. Okay.
If we are fired, can we open with that? Like, editor's note: Patrick and Travis have been removed from the podcast.
The next thing I want to talk about is I received, if you guys don't follow him already, and I'm hoping to bring him on the podcast at some point, but Dave Harlan, he's a copywriter. He's pretty popular on Twitter and LinkedIn. Dave Harlan, copywriter. Check him out. If you're not watching this, we'll have the actual tweet he put out. But I just really found this. I'm a sucker for really good writing, and I found this to be very in line with the BS that you and I have to read all the time. So I'm going to read it to you guys. Delighted to announce that I have signed a contract to become Chief Parenting Officer at Adorable Small Human Solutions Ltd. Commencing August 2021. Mind you guys, this is a LinkedIn post, and this is just like every LinkedIn post for somebody starting a new job. In a shared role with my wife, Charlotte, my new responsibilities will include sleep optimization, spoon-to-mouth alignment, babble-to-word transformation, bedtime story ideation, and cleaning up sick. My first duty will be to implement an innovative nappy change program to eliminate poo under the fingernail wrists. Our focus will then turn to the company's aggressive growth strategy, where we hope to achieve upright walking within 18 months. In a lighthearted announcement to my parents on Tuesday, I asked them, "Do you remember how to change a nappy?" With a confused look, my mom replied, "Why, have you shit yourself?" #growth strategy.
Wow, that's a great ending. I can tell he's a copywriter.
It was brilliant.
Yes, it's very brilliant.
Brilliant.
Very brilliant.
All right, moving on to our next segment. Josh Braun put a post out about a month ago talking about a awesome cold call that he got from Kendra Warlow, and he put the script into the post. But I actually wanted to focus on the top comment that has over 60 likes or hearts or engagements from Shuja. I hope I'm saying your name right, Shuja. But basically, this call, Josh's notes were like, let's see.
I'm familiar with this post, by the way.
Okay. Do you want to break it down a little bit? Because I feel like I'm not doing a good job of that.
No, of course. Well, essentially what the call is Kendra opens up with that she's calling from Starbucks, which is abnormal. Because if you've ever gotten a sales call, it's, "Hey, it's Patrick from PandaDoc. How are you?" Like, that's how every call opens. So if you can shift your opener to something abnormal, like a location you're at or something you're doing or something that most people don't say, it's a pattern interrupt and it gets people's attention right away. And then Shuja goes on to talk about like very precise language. When people call, it's often in words that their customers wouldn't actually use. I solve this problem. We're an end-to-end solution. It's not what people actually say, but she describes her solution in a way that the customer might actually describe it to their friend. And then they go on to talk about some techniques that Chris Voss uses, mirroring especially. Travis, what is mirroring?
Mirroring is developed from psychology, actually. In therapy, a lot of times to display empathy and to gain trust and rapport. And for other reasons, you would mirror somebody in a therapy session.
Yeah, so a lot of Chris Voss's techniques are around how do we replace the word why? Because the word why gets us, if it's received well, to what we want to know. But why is an accusational phrase, especially like it's drilled into us from kids that when someone says why, they're trying to get us to admit to like some sort of thing that would put us in danger or trouble. Why didn't you clean your room? Why didn't you go to school? Why didn't you do this? So when someone says in adulthood, it triggers those feelings and it kind of gives you a flight or flight response.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's not good. So you want to replace it with something like what makes you say that, or a mirror, which is what Kendra does in this call. And then they talk about how to handle an objection. So Josh says he doesn't have failed payments, and she uses a feel, felt, found objection handling technique to handle that. So she pretty much just says, "Hey, I understand how you feel. Other people have felt that way, but what they found was that there actually were failed payments on their website." And then she goes on to offer a way to check for that. Instead of just trying to say, hey, I can help you for sure and being super confident in it, she detaches from the outcome and just wants to help Josh understand if he actually does have failed payments or not, which didn't lead to a meeting because he didn't have them. But if Josh was someone that did have failed payments, this is a perfect way to handle that and to get to a true problem that they could potentially solve and then move on to an evaluation.
I think I like at the bottom of Shuja's comment is he goes, she had your best interest in mind, and that's what made her call awesome.
Yes.
All of those, like Patrick did a really good job just now of diving deep into the specific tactics in a way that I definitely could not have. And everything I heard kind of can be summed up in a way of like, she had Josh's best interest. And that's really what resonated on this call. And I think that's what Josh liked about it so much.
Yeah. One of the big things I've been trying to drill into new SDRs is the more you want the meeting, the less likely you are to get the meeting. The more you detach from the situation, the more likely you are to be able to just have a conversation and discuss if it's even worth talking further, which is what you want to get to anyway.
That rings so true to my days of recruiting high school students to go to college. It took me a couple of months to figure that out, but when I approached every conversation with a prospective student, mind you, that is me selling. At the time, it was a $50,000 annual tuition times 4 years. It's a $200,000, deal with every potential student on the line. But when I detached myself from the outcome and I was like, I don't really care if you attend the school because I know the school is amazing. You'd be lucky to attend it. When I shifted my mindset to that, I was more relaxed. I was able to communicate more objectively to people. And I think they really appreciated that kind of matter of fact. And they didn't feel the need to like please me. They didn't feel pressured by me. And it really opened up conversations. And I saw my deals just improve, my conversations improve, my presence with those families where even if it didn't work out with that specific student, they had such a great time talking to me that they would refer another family that was a better fit to come see and talk to me. So
yes.
Outcome detachment is like fucking huge. And
Yeah.
I think working at a company that, this would be my advice for anybody. I know we're derailing here, but one of the biggest reasons I work at Pandadoc is because the product works really well. Are there things that need to be fixed? For sure. Are there things that some clients get pissed off about? For sure. But overall, I can say with like the utmost confidence that this is a kick-ass product that there is a need for. And when you're able to work for an organization like that, it makes selling and marketing it so much easier, and you can really detach yourself from the outcome because you're like, dude, my product kicks ass. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not.
Yeah, if anybody here is selling something they don't believe in, do you and the company work for a favor and just leave, because there's no reason to do that. It'll be bad for all parties, in my opinion. One last thing on this before we move on.
Okay.
Something you'll notice is everything you talked about and detaching the outcome and how you communicate with people when you're selling, it's more in common with your personal relationships than the artifice of business. And I think we create this like weird thing of like, when you're selling, you have to be like this. When it's like, no, we need to come all the way back to how we are with our family and our friends and just act out of curiosity and act like a normal human being that's just living in the world and not this sales bot that has a checklist of things they have to do, which just ruins everything. Let's move on to the next topic.
The last segment before we have our guest, Gemma from Chili Piper, join us, is an article from about almost a month ago, about 3 weeks ago. This article popped up. I forget where I saw it, but it really caught my attention, which is 90-year-old man takes out $10,000 in ads to tell AT&T CEO about slow service. And then there's so much about this that I love. So I'm going to unpack it and then I want to hear what your like your thoughts are on it, which is basically like, this is a 90-year-old man. When's the last time you spoke to anybody that was 90 years old?
I don't know if I ever have.
Even close. Like my grandma's
an old person,
78 years old. I spoke to her last weekend and like, they don't give a fuck.
I should talk to more of them.
Love it. They don't, man. Like my grandma brought in a 5% coupon to her favorite restaurant. I was like, Grandma, you don't. And she was like, no, we're using the coupon. Didn't give a fuck. And that's what I love about this guy is he was just like, I have been dealing with slow internet, and I'm not going to be like a millennial and go write a grouchy Yelp review or tweet about this. I'm going to spend my own hard-earned cash on, I think it was the Washington Post that he put the advertisement in, the paid advertisement. It was a letter that he wrote to the CEO. Dear Mr. Stanky, which is a terrible last name. AT&T prides itself as a leader in electronic communications. Unfortunately for the people who live in North Hollywood, AT&T is now a major disappointment. Da, 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 da. And it goes on, paid for by Aaron M. Epstein. And like, this is just amazing.
What do you love about it?
I love that AT&T also didn't roll with this. They could have created a marketing campaign out of this. They could have been like, we're going to give you, Aaron, your money back. So AT&T is a big ass company. They could have been like, hey, Washington Post, can you please give Mr. Aaron his money back? And we will spend $10,000 in ads for AT&T in the Washington Post. And then they should have turned this into a story where they made Aaron out to be the hero and rolled with it. And been like, yeah, we fucked up. We did not have good service here, and we ignored Aaron for a couple years, and that's on us. And we're going to do the right thing and fix it. They eventually did fix it, and they did like improve his internet speed. But just, I love how ballsy this is.
It's amazing.
I love that he spent $10,000 of his own money to do this, and it worked. And like the competitors could be like, you shouldn't have to spend $10,000 to get better internet service from AT&T. There's so many things that could happen here. Anyway.
My sales brain is always trying to spin stuff, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, what if they took this, they fixed it, right? And then they ran an ad with his ad at the top. And then it's like, internet isn't something you can just have anymore and be okay with it at a bare minimum. Like, it is your life is online, right? And then pivot to like, you need AT&T to operate smoothly. And when things like this happen, we act fast and solve them. And then get like his response to the situation after it's been fixed.
All right. Thanks so much for listening to episode 4. Our guest, Gemma, is coming on right after this quick break. Patrick, I love you. You look great in yellow.
Thanks, man. I do look great in yellow. Stay sleazy, everybody.
Deuces. We have Gemma here from Chili Piper. We are huge Chili Piper fans, and therefore we are huge Gemma fans. Today, we are talking with the Vice President of Customer Success at Chili Piper. I am your host, Travis Tyler, and I have my co-host, Patrick, Chili Piper #1 fan Downs.
I almost did something really embarrassing. I almost took all the swag I've ever gotten, including the hot sauce, and just like brought it with me. I have like 15 pieces of Chili Piper swag.
You guys rock. You're the best. We love Panda Doc too.
Oh, thank you so much. It's nice to officially meet you.
It is very nice to officially meet you. And I have to admit, Gemma, I wasn't sure if you were going to show up today. I was so nervous.
Why?
Just because I felt like I was blowing you up in email and LinkedIn, and you were like, who is this guy? Just leave me alone.
Your advocacy game is amazing. I mean, Travis, I don't like checking emails on Saturdays, but I did, and I got yours, and I was like, wow. I actually called my wife over. I was like, look at what this guy just did. I can't wait to see the caricature. It was like, okay. It was, it was
no, say what it was. It was awful.
No, Travis, it sounds like you're improving marriages. It sounds like you've added something here.
It was cool. It was cool. No, very happy to be here. Of course, Panda Doc is a very important customer to us. And we, as I said, we love your tech. I'm yet to speak to Jackie, by the way. I'd like to do that at some point, your VP of customer success, because she has been giving our product team incredible insights into how we can continue to, improve our solutions for CS teams as well. So yeah, I wouldn't have missed this for the world, Travis, but the caricature was a nice touch.
That means so much to me. You have no idea. I now have like because I've done this a few times, like you're going to be our fourth guest on the show. So I now have these 3 caricatures on this notepad that just sits in my desk. And if somebody were to like break in and look at it, they'd be like, there's something disturbed with this grown adult drawing doodles of like people.
Travis, I just got an idea. What if we just put all of the drawings behind us? And that
Yeah, you should totally do that.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Or maybe the doodle for the guest that's on, just I put it right here in the middle.
It might be psychotic if we did all of them. It's like, who are all those people behind you? It's strange. What are you doing with them?
It'll be like that meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's like,
Yeah.
You know,
The guy at the board.
Charlie Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Charlie. Yeah. We lost the audience. So do you want to start the interview?
Let's start the interview.
Okay.
Gemma, the reason we were super interested in you is for a few reasons. Number one, Daniel from Chili Piper, the community manager, commented on a LinkedIn post that I put out, which was like, do you know anybody who is in customer success, who's fun to talk to, and has seen some pretty crazy shit, and also maybe has some cool stories they want to share? And he was like, you absolutely need to speak with Gemma. And so now here we are.
Ooh, what kind of stories are you going to get out of me?
I don't know.
I haven't prepared for this.
We don't want you to prepare.
We don't
for this.
prep.
Okay, good.
So I think a good place to start is Patrick and I have been having this conversation about how the metrics that are used on revenue teams, and specifically for salespeople, it can breed a lot of psychological damage when you feel like your inherent value, as we were talking about before, is tied to a number that you're trying to produce. And my sense is that in CS, you're a part of the revenue team and you're driving revenue, yet there's less pressure or psychological damage that occurs. And I was just wondering, like, we've been trying to figure out, like, what is the difference there? Like, what is the management style, the metrics? Why is it that salespeople feel so much pressure? And our assumption, neither one of us are in CS, but from our CS friends, is that they don't feel quite that pressure that an SDR or a BDR, an AE feels. So we wanted to just hear from you of like, what are you doing so that people aren't so messed up when they don't hit their number?
Yeah, I have worked my way up in the tech world, starting out as a lead generator. It was called back then. Now it's called BDR, SDR, those kind of roles. But so I know the pressure that you're talking about. Honestly, I don't feel like it doesn't exist in customer success. I think there's just as much pressure. My kind of view, taking a big zoom back, is every department is a revenue department, right? So it shouldn't just feel like sales are tied to revenue numbers or customer success or marketing or product. Like everybody, engineering, they should be aware of the revenue numbers. And I think the sales teams that perform best are the ones who have leaders who are able to create that alignment at the leadership level across the entire business. So it comes from having visibility into the sales numbers outside of the sales team so that everybody understands the impact they have to those numbers. I think that's really important. But yeah, I don't think it's less stressful being in CS. I think a lot of salespeople might think that and apply for jobs, CS jobs, thinking like, oh, well, at least I won't have a number. But trust me, if you're in a good CS team, you have a number. It might just be a different type of number, but you sure as hell are going to have one. I like to think of product adoption as being something very stressful. And CS teams who are less paperwork driven, let's say, they're going to be focusing on product adoption. There's a million different things that can happen that can make that adoption fall, and you've got to be aware and cognizant of all of them, just in the same way that you'd be aware of reasons why a deal might slip. So yeah, hopefully that's provided some insight from the CS side of the pond.
It does, and I'm waiting for Patrick to respond.
I have a follow-up question.
Go for it.
All right, because I'm a ball of sunshine. I love focusing on positivity. let's put ourselves in the shoe of a very stressed out CSM, and they're coming to you. What does that conversation sound like?
Oh, well, I think the CSM stress is always from customer not being able to achieve a specific outcome, right? So it's hard to define further than that, but it's a customer is trying to achieve something and they can't achieve it. So if they're coming to me, it's usually because they've exhausted all of the known routes to help that customer and they're kind of out of ideas, you know. And at that point, it's just a question of reassuring that CSM, like, hey, it's okay. Maybe this thing hasn't happened before, and this is something new that we need to be prepared for. It's okay that you don't have all the answers. It's good that you're escalating this. This is the kind of thing that we need to share with other people in the business and other customers to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. So I answered your question with a solution.
Classic CS.
Yeah. Well, because
That positive mindset is totally important. Like, I think in any kind of fast-paced business that you're in, be it SaaS or other, it's always about having a positive mindset, right? Even at that point where you feel like you want to cry because you're really frustrated, that's where you're actually breaking ground and building new muscle memory, and getting better at improving your game. And so yeah, I think those are good things.
I want to pivot a little bit, if that's okay.
let's pivot.
Okay.
I like a good pivot.
So this podcast, Customer Engagement Lab, we're talking with folks, and a lot of times what ends up being a cool part of the conversation is different forms of digital outreach that they've either seen or done themselves that kind of really stand out as different. And I'll give you two quick examples. The last guest that we talked to, he was telling Patrick and I about how there was an applicant for a copywriter position who sent the VP of marketing a $50,000 Venmo request to get that VP's attention. And obviously the VP was like WTF is this? But then in the little message on the Venmo request, he put in a link to his website, his copywriter website, which had his resume and everything. He ended up getting hired for the job and ended up working out really cool. And then another one was
I'd be like, oh no, I'm being hacked. Venmo support, something's happened.
That's what we're looking to do with all of our outreach, is strike fear into our prospects.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the motto of the show. If you're not scaring people, you're not doing outreach right. No, that's
Put fear in their hearts.
I'm pretty good. Here's something I shouldn't do. Tell people that I'm open to outreach, because now I'm going to get a bunch more outreach. But I'm pretty good at responding to people who reach out to me. And I'm also good at telling them if it's not relevant, because I've been there. I've, tried to get the right person on the phone before. And honestly, if someone's reaching out, they're doing me a favor, because it's my job to stay up to date with the latest and greatest, right? So they're helping me out. But I do also have some text expanders saved to tell them when it's not relevant.
What does not appeal to you when people reach out?
I mean, just stuff that's like a point solution that I'm not going to be able to integrate with my set easily. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, oh, probably not going to make sense. But maybe I'll give you some feedback on the product. But not like properly take a sales call, so to speak.
And then, Gemma, what is a purchase that you've made recently where you were either sold or marketed to pretty well, even if that's like a B2C purchase, I just bought some cool tank tops because my fiance said that I have a farmer's tan coming in and I'm a big runner. And so that's why I even rolled up the sleeves today a little bit.
Ooh.
You can see how pasty it gets. Anyway, I made that purchase because Dick's Sporting Goods like hit me up with these nurture emails and then gave me $10 off. And anyway, we're big on just figuring out like the process of somebody who makes a purchase, what pushes them over the line from either sales or marketing to make that purchase.
Yeah, so I think what did I recently buy? I bought a tonal, which is pretty cool. It's one of those overpriced workout machines that you have in-house. Look, I know this is a podcast, but I'll show you. It's behind me. It's like, it looks like a big iPad on my wall. There it is.
Oh, one of those mirror things. Yeah, when you're like just like boxing.
Don't get confused. It's not a mirror. It's tonal. But don't get it twisted. I actually have but it's digitized weights, and you know how weights have become really expensive nowadays, and hard to come by. I just thought, let's splash out on a machine that kind of has it all in there and save space as well. And what was really cool about them is that they made it really easy for me to go in store to a local store that was able to provide me a IRL demo. I probably wouldn't have bought it if that wasn't the case. So I love in-store experiences, and I've definitely missed that through COVID. But this store was really cool. Like, you could book it and it was reserved just for you at the time. I guess they do that with all of the exercise machines now. I think they do that with Pelotons and stuff like that as well. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes me think too, like, how do we in the B2B space then try to, so much pun intended right now, mirror the B2C in-store experience?
Your brain.
How do we do that? I don't know. I don't have an answer. We sell all our stuff digitally on Zoom calls. So it's software you're selling. So I guess the in-person experience isn't necessarily there. I don't know.
Well, I think we can connect with providing experiences to people that get them out of Zoom. So I guess a creative thing, I don't know why I'm not doing this, but why not capture what customers like to do that is an outdoor experience? Like, maybe it's hiking. Give them like a pick list of like hiking, swimming, watching TV. Because people also like to do that outside of Zoom. And then, have an advocacy program that includes some kind of reward for something they like. So then they subconsciously associate you with fun stuff.
I like that. Here at Panadoc, I was in a brainstorm session yesterday with some of our CS team trying to figure out ideas just like that. So thanks, Gemma. We're going to steal that one.
Yeah. I think that's why product-led growth is such a big thing right now. It's because that's probably simulating the B2C experience most out of all of the common marketing techniques, and almost cutting the salesperson out entirely. Where it's just like, all right, I start a free trial or I get a free account on something, and then I trigger something that tells me, oh, I could do this feature if I go here. And here, watch a demo of it. And it's just a video and you don't have to interact with anybody. Or if you need to, there's just a chat there. And then they can direct you in the right direction. And there's a paywall. Put your credit card in, hit buy. We're pretty much just meeting the customer where they are without making them go through the whole song and dance of the demo process.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? You use that turn of phrase, cutting the salesperson out of it, which sounds so scary. But actually, I have a theory that most salespeople could actually do many other jobs. Could actually still be salespeople, but find more creative outlets to sell that don't involve a demo and that don't involve going through, the typical sales cycle. So isn't it just a wonderful sign of progression for salespeople if they can do less sales stuff but still be salespeople?
Quit your job and be a marketer like Travis.
Yes.
Yeah, but people do. Oh, I hate this phrase. People buy from people, but they do in a sense. So I feel like we're not maybe cutting out salespeople. We're just empowering them to do more and be more than just like the person who updates Salesforce.
What are some of the creative ways that salespeople can still operate without the demo?
I think networking customers and building a network between your customers, introducing them to each other, getting them to share ideas is so much fun and makes the job so rewarding, and almost becoming a recruiter for your customer base is a creative side to the job that people don't talk about much, but is a common trait with what? You're
It
going
was just
very
like
quiet. I'm so
you said
nervous.
something that I really liked, and then there was like a wind chime outside. And it was like dee 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 dee. It was like a little like a realization sound.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, sometimes the universe just conspires for you.
It
And I love when that happens.
it was beautiful.
It was really beautiful.
And I'm
I
like,
actually almost
Patrick,
cried.
don't distract her. She's on
was
like
just
a
like-
great train of
I was like,
thought.
did you hear the sound? It was amazing. No, because like I feel that way about y'all. Like I love promoting Chili Piper. I
Same.
tag Chili Piper on LinkedIn probably twice a month just because I love the product so much and it just comes up in sales discussions. And I have a great relationship with Daniel and I'm on the cab and everything. And that just happened because I had a good experience.
Correct.
And Daniel reached out and was like, hey, can I send you some hot sauce? And I was like, yeah, I love hot sauce. Give me everything.
I wonder what sales futurist like Justin Michael would say about like this conversation in terms of replacing salespeople or diverting salespeople into new roles away from traditional selling and more into both of what you said, the product-led growth that Patrick was talking about, and then this customer-led growth that you're talking about, Gemma, where you're creating a community of partners that all are using each other's tools in a way and promoting it that way. I mean, that to me I feel like a lot of people have opinions on that, which is cool.
Yeah, I think there will always be room for a demo. Like there's some people that just want that experience. Like they want to bullshit with somebody, they want to see it, and their direct sales will always be a thing. But I think it's going to split off into those three different areas, and there will just be like a third of the direct sales people that there are now eventually, and then there will be other people doing PLG and other people doing customer advocacy, and it will just be like a wonderful rainbow of different things.
Well said. Beautiful. Gemma, we want to be mindful of your time. Is there anything we can do for you with the Customer Engagement Lab and our listeners? Do you want to promo anything from Chili Piper that you guys got going on? There you go. A great organization to work for. So if anybody's listening to this and is like, ooh, I want to go work at a place like Chili Piper,
Yeah.
strongly recommended.
Gemma, what roles would you highlight that you're hiring for?
So I'm responsible for both customer support, pre-sales, technical support, and then post-sales customer success management. We're growing the team on all fronts. So specifically interested in speaking to people who are technical. It is a technical CSM role. Our customers do want partners who are going to understand their Salesforce or HubSpot or Marketo setups. But we have a lot to offer in terms of brilliant customer base, excellent product, as you've testified to, and huge growth potential.
Right on. Yeah, we booked this podcast episode and recording using Chili Piper. So there you go.
There we go. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. It's a
Circle of
beautiful
life.
thing.
Synergy. Where's the wind chime?
It's missing now.
That sounded like a telephone. I'm sorry. I
Just kind
tried.
of trilling sound.
I tried.
Bling, bling, bling.
Ding, 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 ding.
It should be that sound.
That's going to be the intro to this podcast. Thank you, Gemma. What a beautiful
Anytime.
in tune. Yeah.
It's a beautiful tone.
English accent helps as well with the voiceovers. So just let me know. Do you want me to like do any bits for you right now?
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes, you should. Also, I have a question. Do sound effects have accents? Like if you're like ding, ding, ding. would it have a
No,
British
stupid
accent?
question, because when British people sing, they sound American. So dumb question, Patrick.
American's just the default. But yeah, we should definitely do some bits of you recording.
Let's have her. How about we have you say The Customer Engagement Lab is both the silliest and the funnest podcast I've been on all year, and it's only March.
Yes, please lie with conviction for us.
The Customer Engagement Lab is both the silliest and the funniest podcast I've been on all year, and it's only March.
Boom! We got her here, Patrick. You got to give her one.
So good.
What are you gonna have her say?
You should do welcome to the Customer Engagement Lab. Please don't leave. We need the viewers.
Welcome to the Customer Engagement Lab. Please don't leave. We need the viewers.
Can that be the open?
Yes.
Yeah, that needs to be the open for this episode.
Oh my gosh, that was perfect, Gemma.
Thank
We
you
had
so
so
much.
much fun with you. Daniel did not let us down. We love you, Daniel, because he recommended you, and you were so much fun. So thanks so much for coming on with us.
Yes, awesome. Anytime, guys.
Any final thoughts for our viewers? And then goodbye. Like one of those.
Nah,
No?
no, I just want to end it abruptly. I want to.
Because the last one did end abruptly, and I was like, we should probably have an outro.
I love it.
Okay. It's a stylistic choice.
Patrick, again, with a terrible idea to end the show. Thanks so much, Patrick, and thanks, Gemma, for joining us today.
Oh, love it. All right, chat soon.
Thanks for hanging out with us today on the Customer Engagement Lab. For more of Travis and Patrick's chaotic energy, subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast player. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you would make our hearts smile if you left a super quick rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the show deserves. It'll take you 2 seconds, I promise. Till next time.